I started thinking about these deadly bomb cyclones, and this latest one to slam California, toppling trees, causing blackouts, as you see right here. This deadly storm system is one of many drenching California in heavy rains or packing them with snow. So, all these systems are just consistently back to back, and it's just nonstop. So, but I started thinking about the interesting statements by people. People are arguing on here and saying that this is a good one for me. This was a good one. It really hit. He said he was down in Santa Barbara, and he said about 3:30 p.m. This guy here says a real downpour, and it reminded him of the old days in California when we had rains, 1950s, 60s, and 70s. But it didn't rain hard enough. He said to make me pull my car under a freeway pass, an overpass, and wait for it to slow down so it was safe to drive again. And this person obviously argued with him, sarcastically. This other person, they started saying, call upon Jesus, made fun of him. They're going to regret that, I'm sure, greatly. But they started arguing and saying, you know good and well it's climate change and you're trying to say it's not. No, he never said that. He never said those words. That person never said those words. See right there, it's this person said, what absolute nonsense. They said, I too grew up in SoCal, California, San Diego, and the rains in the 1950s and 60s and 70s they were nothing like this winter. What it did is it rained. It was accompanied by high winds, and certainly it did not rain for days at a time. If you're simply using this as an opportunity to prove that there is no, or claim there is no CC, just stand up and say that, and then they start making fun of the Lord, which is just wrong. But the thing is about these individuals arguing, this person, I'm wondering if this is a Mandela effect. Are we witnessing a Mandela effect here? Is this a Mandela effect? You have individuals saying, like this person here, this was a good one. It reminds me of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. The dude abides, says 50s, 60s, and 70s. This person said, nonsense. There were no rains like that in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And this person, they say, oh yeah, it was just like the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And this person said, I've lived in California for 63 years now. This is one of the more exciting winters I've experienced. Perhaps not the most, but one of the most. And this person can remember a couple of storms that were stronger than this in California. This person said, actually, it's been since the 1950s to have this kind of consistent Pineapple Express weather pattern. Back in the later 1800s was another one, the wave like this one, that they considered the strongest one. This person lives in California, and they said that we will land with the second highest snowfall amount, and that's true. This is the second highest snowfall amount that there's ever been in California. Not the highest. The last one was in the 70s or 80s. I can't remember. And where I live, we were close to twice normal rainfall, most likely, and we'll be there in a couple of days. We are still in the second or third of the most rainy ever in their town. Timing could not have come better, as these storms wiped out the drought where they live. So the thing is, there's these individuals arguing, saying, oh, it's rain like that in California. And this person said, I was alive in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and there was no rain like this. This person, what's happening to the rains? What's happening to them? The dead woods in the rain are rotting. The dead wood in the forest and elsewhere is rotting. This person was... Anyway, there's a lot of arguments going. A lot of arguments. God's way of cleaning up the atmosphere, as well as easing on thirsty environment. Nature is not a random phenomenon, and it flips on its own from dry to rain and vice versa. That's a higher order to maintain balance. Mankind needs to reconsider the good old prayer in harmony with God and nature, to be thankful for the order of things as they unfold. Anyway, alright, so bottom line for this video, I noticed that there are a lot of people arguing, individuals arguing regarding these recent rains in California. Is this a Mandela effect? You've got individuals saying, hey, this was like this for me in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. but it just wasn't so heavy that they had to put their car under an overpass. While you have others arguing, saying, no, it was never like that in those times. I lived there. And then you've got another comment down here saying, actually, it's been since the 50s since we've had this type of consistent Pineapple Express weather. So we've got arguments taking place and saying, I remember it like this in the mid-60s. While I feel for those who are having problems, I sure do like rain. So what do you remember? I remember this back in 1901. It was crazy, which I don't know. I don't highly doubt that person. Yeah, I highly doubt that. But there's just people that don't believe it, and there are people that say they experienced it, and there are people that say that never happened. So is that an ME? Give your thoughts. Regardless, very interesting weather.